Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with one of our last videos on The Flash Season 4. So just quickly, I will be announcing the giveaway winner from last week's video, which was for Black Panther. That's what the giveaway was. So yeah, stick around until the end of the video to find out if you won that giveaway, if you entered it. And I will be also starting up another giveaway, which will be my last one for the season. So yeah, stick around until then if you want to find out how you can enter that giveaway. So we are currently in finale week for Season 4 of The Flash, with the finale only a few days away from now, and with a lot of things to be wrapped up, explained, as well as set up for next season. It should be a fairly exciting hour of television for our ocular eyeball devices. Some of these include the Mystery Girl, the Speed Force symbols, Cecile and her pregnancy, the death and return of certain characters, and of course, the fall of DeVoe. But what we are going to be going over in this video, as you can tell by the title, is the topic of how Caitlyn was Killer Frost as a child, as well as where this will lead to, possibly in the finale, but more specifically and more likely, next season of The Flash, that being Season 5. So in the last episode, that being episode 22, we saw Caitlyn seeking help from not only that therapist that we see all the time, but also those in Team Flash in regards to her repressed memories, specifically one from when she was a young girl, which involved her getting struck by a car whilst riding her bike. We vibed back to this memory thanks to our mate Cisco, where we saw this young version of Caitlyn look back at the mirror from the car, I think it was, that broke off. It might have been her bike, but I'm pretty sure it was the car. And she saw herself as young Killer Frost, or Kidder Frost, as I've used in my review for that episode. Now, this young Caitlyn was played by Victoria Askunis, I think I've pronounced that last name correctly, who, from what I can find at least, is new to the acting scene. We did briefly talk about this casting around a month ago, but due to everything else going on, I forgot all about it. It was just a brief mention in one of my videos. I guess we just didn't think that young Caitlyn would be used in such a dramatic and important way. But back to that vibe flashback, just before young Caitlyn looked back at the mirror to see herself all frostified, if you want to call it, we heard her father yelling at her that everything was okay, but also, wanting her not to see herself. Which is understandable, but what was the most interesting thing was that her father, didn't seem to be all that shocked. He seemed to be fairly calm for a guy that has just seen his daughter completely transformed to someone else and also, almost get killed by a car. It seemed as if he knew exactly what was going on with her, which we will jump into in a second. So with Caitlyn and her powers, we were led to believe that they were caused by the particle accelerator, and they just bided their time to pop out and go, "Hello, I'm here." And this was all triggered and set off due to Barry causing Flashpoint. But obviously, what is going on with Caitlyn is something entirely different. But what exactly is going on? Well, I think there are two options that the show could use for what is going on with Caitlyn and her Killer Frost side. The first of these is that she is an experiment. We saw how Caitlyn's mother was, and we don't really know what Caitlyn's father was like behind the scenes and out of sight of his daughter. He could have been a completely different person than he was in front of his daughter. So it wouldn't be too hard to think and believe that Caitlyn could have been the subject of some sort of, meta DNA building experiment test thing. I think this is the least likely of the two, but it is still something to consider when it comes to Caitlyn and the origin of her abilities. The second option, however, and the most likely one, in my opinion, is that Caitlyn is actually a natural metahuman. She was born with these powers, and sort of like what people thought was going on with her, following Flashpoint and the particle accelerator, is that her powers are just, biding their time before they were ready to show themselves, or they were waiting for Caitlyn to be put into a situation in which they would be, useful, such as being hit by a SUV. But how would Caitlyn be a natural meta? Well, I think it has to do with her father. I believe going by this option, that Caitlyn would have had the powers of her father, or at least similar powers handed down to her. This could lead to a storyline in Season 5 where we get some form of flashbacks through the eyes of Caitlyn, as well as some others that we could meet in Season 5, as well as the return of Caitlyn's mother. But who exactly would Caitlyn's father be? Just some random guy, or would he actually be a character from the comics? Well, I think it would be a missed opportunity to not use someone from the comics as Caitlyn's father. Not necessarily their proper name, but at least their, supervillain or superhero alias. But who exactly could they be? Well, I have two options. I've narrowed it down to two options, as I don't want to go over too many options. I just think it's a waste of time. I just thought I'd go with the two ones that I feel the show could actually produce a decent story with, and that could also connect to various things brought up in the history of not only the Flash TV show, but also the Arrowverse as a whole. The first option is one that I'm sure a decent amount of you would be familiar with, and that is that Caitlyn's father is actually Icicle. Now, who is Icicle, you might ask? Well, that title has been held by a couple of people in the comics. I wouldn't use any of them if he ends up being, who Caitlyn's father is. I would just go with some random name, but he is actually Icicle. In regards to the powers of Icicle, the first Icicle from the comics simply had a gun that could generate and control ice, similar to that of the various versions of Leonard Snart that we have seen in the Arrowverse. He could create like blasts of cold ice missiles and walls of ice from, what was around in the environment. The second Icicle, who was actually the son of the original or first Icicle, could actually generate and control ice, creating blasts of cold, like ice missiles and walls of ice, basically what the gun could do, but naturally. So more in line with the powers that we see with Killer Frost. What the show could do is actually have Caitlyn's father revealed to be Icicle back in the day, whenever that might be, with the powers that we saw with the second Icicle from the comic. So the powers that were similar to Killer Frost's, and that is where Caitlyn gets her powers from, passed down through her father into her DNA. They would have to do some explaining in regards to why Killer Frost is contained and only called upon and released when her, adrenaline and stuff like that goes up. Another thing to remember is back in season 2, when we went over to Earth 2, the Killer Frost over there said that she had a brother. So that could make it that our Caitlyn also had a brother. I think his name was something. I don't know what it was. But maybe he was born as a, Killer Frost looking baby boy and was kept secret and contained elsewhere during Caitlyn's upbringing, having no knowledge of his existence at all. So Caitlyn just thinks, I never had a brother, but in reality, she, that baby brother was born, or that brother was born, whether it's younger or older, and it was just taken away because of how it looked and stuff like that. And this will be pretty interesting if, throughout the season, that, that person or that brother shows back up and is actually a villain. They could call him Icicle if they wanted to, or Icicle Jr. like we see in various things. I think that's from Young Justice, if I remember from the top of my head. But yeah, they could go down that road. But on to the other option, the one I think is more likely to happen, as he is a bit more obscure, I guess, and that is that Caitlyn's father, the reason for, Killer Frost being a thing, is Elijah Snow. Elijah in the comics is immortal, which they could keep for the show if they wanted to. It would be a bit extreme, but then again, Cicada looks like he will be the villain next season, or at least the villain for the first half. So that could line up fairly well because Cicada, similar to Elijah, is immortal. Now, Elijah is incredibly smart, which would line up for someone who would be Caitlyn's father. And then he also has a power set very similar to that of Killer Frost, if not a tiny bit more overpowered than that of Killer Frost's. And of course, let's not forget the almighty deciding factor and the ultimate reason that he will 100% be Caitlyn's father. And of course, that reason is through the overuse of words for dramatic effect, that reason being his last name is also Snow. 100% confirmed he's Caitlyn's father. Let's just lock it down. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is some stuff that has already happened in the Arrowverse that could lead to some interesting things to come. So, apart from a few minor changes, we know that the post-Flashpoint timeline is almost identical to that of the pre-Flashpoint timeline, with references to the first and second season still standing where we are currently with the show. With this, we also now know of 2 metahumans that weren't created by the particle accelerator. The first one being Caitlyn Snow, Killer Frost, subject of this video, as well as Jake Simmons, aka Deathbolt. So with this, you would have to believe that this means that there was a previous event which created metahumans at some point in either Central City's past or somewhere else that would either lead to people getting the metagene and passing it on through their DNA for generations to come, or there was an incident wherever Caitlyn and Deathbolt were residing at the time. So while next season we will have the typical villain causing havoc and chaos for Team Flash and friends, or at least we think there should be something like that going on, another interesting storyline that they could go with could be around tracking down the past of the either, natural metagene or that other accident or incident that caused metas, such as Caitlyn and Deathbolt, and basically just going through Caitlyn's past and her origin and how she got this Killer Frost stuff. For me personally, that would be a pretty cool side storyline for the whole season to go down, especially if it involved maybe Caitlyn and Cisco teaming up and going and doing that. That'd be pretty interesting, and maybe some other characters we could meet down that journey. But now let's get on to the giveaway. So as I said, the giveaway for last week was for a copy of Black Panther on either Blu-ray or DVD, and the winner of that giveaway was Ryan Doles, or Doles. I'm going to say it's Ryan Doles just because that seems like what it would be. So Ryan, just hit me up on YouTube in the message department and we'll sort out your address and get that prize out to you. Now this week's giveaway is for either Batman Ninja or Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. So you get to choose one of those if you win, and it's either on Blu-ray or DVD depending on what player that you have. So to enter that giveaway, all you have to do is leave a like on the video, be subscribed to the channel, and answer this question in the comment section down below, which is, apart from the main characters on each show, so you know, Green Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, which character's powers would you like to have? So just answer that question in the comment section down below, along with leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel, and you are entered into that giveaway. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Along with the giveaway stuff, let me know all of your different opinions on the video in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.